You want to make sure that you don't move the veg, and you want to cut them nice and flat and straight, so they sit flat and straight after you turn this mold out, see? So you can probably envision making a miniature version of this in a, maybe a 1-pint mold. Same kind of mold, ceramic like this. This is a souffle mold. And serving them as an individual serving. Now don't forget, you could put meat and all kinds of stuff inside of here. I'm giving you the vegetarian version of the vegetable chartreuse, but this could be a chicken and vegetable chartreuse or a beef and vegetable chartreuse also. The ingredients that probably shouldn't change if you decide to modify the primary ingredients of this would be the carrots, the squash, the green beans, the mashed potatoes, and the cabbage. The other stuff is flexible in terms of what you put inside. But those are the primary things that hold this mold together.
Chef, if you used chicken or beef, would you have it pre-cooked?
You would pre-cook whatever you put in here, right? Because when you bake this, all you want to do is make this hot. That's it. Okay, now that looks pretty tight. That looks perfect. Now, what we're going to do before we bake this, you see how nice and clean that is? Now, this is the stage that you can make this mold the day before if you want, okay? You can plastic wrap it and then aluminum foil it before it goes in the oven. So we're going to put this in the fridge for about an hour and a half, and I'm going to come back. We're going to time-elapse an hour and a half. I'm going to come back, and we're going to pop this in the oven. I'll show you how to seal it up with the plastic wrap and the foil. Then we're going to time-elapse it again, and we're going to. So in the next 5 minutes, you're going to see this thing on a plate. Okay? So I'll be right back after this gets a chance to chill, which is right now. Okay, the chartreuse has been refrigerated for about a half an hour, 40 minutes, and it's fairly cool now, which is perfect. You don't want it ice cold because then the heat has to penetrate the entire thing completely, and it takes longer, and it's a little bit harder, and it's what you don't want to do is you don't want to have to cook it at a high temperature for a long time. So normally what I would do is get it cold, take it out so it's just cool, then wrap it and throw it inside the oven. But before I go to that stage, I want to make sure you know how to cut the carrot that went next to the green bean. So we're going to take a peeled carrot. We're going to make sure that we cut it above the size of the mold. Then I'm going to square the carrot off a little bit so that it's easier to cut. Okay? Now, cut it into strips. So really they're like long boxes almost, you see? And now, there, see the size of the green beans, which is what you're looking for. And that's how the carrots were cut prior to blanching them a little bit earlier, okay? Now, sealing up the mold and putting it in the oven. First, we're going to take some plastic wrap, and we're going to cover the mold with the plastic wrap. Then I'm going to take a sheet of foil, and we're going to cover the foil on it. So the plastic wrap, which will seal it, moisture and the heat in it, and the foil will keep the plastic wrap from melting or burning during that process, okay? Now, at some point, you're going to have to be able to remove the foil to watch and see if there's bubbling butter around the edge, because that's how you're going to know that it's hot all the way through. So don't put the foil on in such a way so that you can't take it off. See how that sets right on there? Now I'm going to pop this in a 350-degree conventional oven, a regular oven, not a convection oven. And we're going to bake this until it's bubbling. And that's probably going to take about a half an hour, give or take, something like that, okay? So let's pop this in the oven directly on the rack. You do not need to put this item on a cookie sheet prior to putting it in the oven. Now I'm going to be back in about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. We're going to take it out. I'm going to show you the bubbling butter around the edge of that mold before we turn it out onto this tray. And we're going to find out if I know how to make one of these things in this video today. Okay, we'll be right back in about 45 minutes.